Every couple of weeks, somebody says, yes. Somebody says, how do I know when to stop? It's like whenever you're painting a painting, you never know when to stop, and then you've gone too far and you've destroyed the stone. This is a really, really common problem. All right, so today we're going to start out with deer frogs. Is there a video to watch about how you know when to stop when you're revealing a color bar? Or is that just knowledge that comes from experience? I swear sometimes when I see a bar that's hidden but a small layer of gray, I can see the color right underneath it. And then as I'm wearing it off, boom, it's gone, and I was on the bar the whole time. Since it's not on the side, I can't use that as a guide for how far to go down. Any video to watch to aid in this, or is it just something that comes with time and you get a feel for it? Yeah, it is something that comes with time and you get a feel for it, but there are ways such that you can approach a cutting of a stone in a rub in a systematic way so that you don't have to just get a feel for it or use the force. I think a lot of what happens here is that people watch on YouTube videos about opal cutting that are for entertainment purposes, and whenever you're trying to entertain, maybe you cut out some of the critical parts that are maybe a little bit boring, but whenever you're actually cutting a stone, it's absolutely essential that you understand each of those steps and how they fit together so that you don't run into problems like this. I never get into the problem of I'm looking at the bar and I don't know when to stop because I don't know where the bar bottoms out. And I do that, I don't get into that problem because I set the stone up properly a step before that, so I know exactly how far to cut down on it. Now, I think a lot of what happens here is the story that I hear is that people watch Justin Thomas do it. And to watch Justin Thomas cut opals and to learn how to cut opals from that is like watching Bob Ross paint a picture or watching the Harlem Globetrotters and watching a couple of minutes of that video and then having a go at it. You're missing about 7,000 steps between picking up a ball and dunking it, or between picking up your paintbrush. Justin's got a really interesting way of cutting, and it comes from cutting tens of thousands of opals. And once you've done that, you have the ability to kind of manipulate things in a way that most people don't, right? And if you cut 10,000 opals, you'll be able to do the same thing. But I suggest that there's a step in there before that if you get to that step, then you won't have a whole bunch of problems that you get after that. And this is an example. I'll show you this stone in more detail up under the macro lens. But all of my rubs essentially look like this before I put them on a dop and finish them off. And the thing that you notice there is that there's a perpendicular face here. And I can see the color bar all the way around. As I spin that stone, I can see the color bar all the way around. And if you do this with every one of your rubs, you will never get to the point where you don't know how far to go down from the top because you can't see the color, right? And if you have that problem, it's because, one, either you haven't hit this stage before you put it on a dop, or you do like Justin does and you roll the top, or roll that shoulder over before you get to this point, right? And if you do that, it makes it impossible to see that color bar. There are some exceptions when you're cutting like razor thin black color bars, and I'll probably go over that in a future video. But for the average, beginning to intermediate cutter, you're never going to have that problem because if you cut your stone like this in the beginning, you can see that bar all the way around. Now, beginning cutters don't like to do that because they want to maximize the carat weight of the stone, right? And by having the biggest stone possible as the goal, a lot of times you leave in imperfections and you don't cut your rub to the right point, and that gives you further problems. So I'm going to say, if you focus on getting a slightly smaller perfect stone over getting a larger stone that has issues in it, sometimes you can overcome some of the issues like this that we're reading about today, where you don't know when to stop. Off, boom, it's gone, and I was on the bar the whole time. Since it's not on the side, I can't use down. Nasty mozzie. Nasty son.